taxation without representation. No taxation without representation.
The streets of Abeokuta became alive with protest. Thousands of women marched, their chants echoing through the air. No taxation without representation. They carried signs, raised their feet, and filled the palace gates of the Alake of Igbaland. Funmilayo stood at the forefront, her presence commanding respect. She addressed the Alake directly. "Your Highness, how can you stand by and watch your people suffer? We demand that this tax be abolished. Until you act, we will not rest." This is the story of the Lioness of Lisabi, Funmilayo ransom-kuti. In 19, a young girl named Frances Abigail Olua Funmilayo Thomas was born in Abeokuta, Nigeria. In a time where girls were often denied education, Funmilayo's family believed in her potentials. She attended Abeokuta Grammar School, then journeyed to England for further education. There she gained more than just knowledge. She found independence and a passion for equality. Funmilayo returned to Abeokuta in the 1920s after her education in England. She drove a car through the village, surprising onlookers. She later started teaching women in her community. Upon returning to Abeokuta, Funmilayo became a pioneer for women's empowerment. She was one of the first women in her community to drive a car, symbolizing her progressive spirit. She made mention of how education was important for even daughters as well as sons. "Our daughters deserve education. Our voices must be heard. Together we can create a better future." Funmilayo married Reverend Israel Ransom-kuti and raises her children, including Fela Kuti. But this was how Funmilayo ransom-kuti played a vital role in this story. Long ago, in the vibrant town of Abeokuta, Nigeria, women were the lifeblood of the bustling markets. They traded goods, provided for their families, and wove the fabric of their community. Yet, in the 1940s, their lives were shadowed by injustice. Colonial authorities, through local rulers like the Alake of Igbaland, imposed heavy taxes on these women. The market women, many of whom earned only a meager income, were pushed to break. Despite their struggles, they saw none of the benefits promised by the taxes. No clean water, no health care, no improvements to their lives. In the face of this oppression stood one woman, Funmilayo ransom-kuti, a fearless leader with a vision for change. Funmilayo, a teacher, activist, and mother, saw the plight of these women. She recognized their cries for justice and decided to act. In 1946, she formed the Abeokuta's Women Union, a movement unlike any the town had ever seen. The union wasn't just a group, it was a force. Funmilayo united over 20,000 women from all walks of life, young and old, rich and poor. Together, they learned their rights, shared their struggles, and prepared to fight for change. Funmilayo addressed them with a powerful voice. "We are the backbone of this community. Without us, there is no market, no trade, no progress. It's time we demand what is fair, what is just." The women began by petitioning the colonial government and the Alake, urging them to abolish the unfair taxes. When their voices were ignored, Funmilayo led them into action. The streets of Abeokuta became alive with protest. Thousands of women marched, their chants echoing through the air. No taxation without representation. They carried signs, raised their fists, and filled the palace gates of the Alake of Igbaland. Funmilayo stood at the forefront, her presence commanding respect. She addressed the Alake directly. "Your Highness, how can you stand by and watch your people suffer? We demand that this tax be abolished. Until you act, we will not rest." Protests grew. The women sat in front of the palace gates, refusing to move until their voices were heard. They boycotted markets, disrupted colonial operations, and sent a clear message: they would not back down. For weeks, Abeokuta was a town transformed. This women's movement was peaceful, yet unyielding, embodying strength and resilience. Funmilayo became known as the Lioness of Lisabi, a leader who roared against injustice. Finally, their efforts bore fruit. Under immense pressure from the protests, the colonial government abolished the oppressive taxation on women. The victory didn't stop there. The Alake of Igbaland temporarily abdicated his throne in 1949, a monumental movement for the women of Abeokuta. Funmilayo stood before her fellow women, her face lit with pride. "This is our victory. Together, we have shown that when women rise, no force can hold us down." The Abeokuta Women's Union and Funmilayo's leadership became a symbol of hope and empowerment. Their protests inspired movements across Nigeria and beyond, paving the way for women's rights and activism. Funmilayo's courage earned her a place in history as one of Africa's greatest feminists and activists. She proved that change is possible when people unite with determination and purpose. Today, her legacy lives on, a reminder that even the mightiest powers can be challenged by the strength of ordinary people standing together. And so, the Lioness of Lisabi roared, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire generations.